All right, now we're cooking.
Cooking with hot grease.
That's it. I love it. All right. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. Much obliged.
Hey, is today our first actual coaching call one-on-one?
It is, yes.
All right. We're gonna cover a lot of ground today.
All right.
Well, now we've gotten through the first hurdle, which is being able to get on Zoom on the computer together,
Yep.
which it's always, that's what InDoc is, that's what onboarding's all about. So,
All right.
all right. Now I'm sharing my screen with you. You can see it, yeah?
Yes, I can.
Excelente. All right. What you're looking at is your very own business goal plotter tracker. This is our weekly coaching tool that we're going to go over together so that we can identify what steps you need to take to build your business and then set goals each week and then execute on those goals. So, say for instance, today we're going to talk about what's each one of these categories over here, B11 through B17. And then we're going to set out steps for you to take between now and when we talk again next week.
All
And
right.
then this is yours. It's a working copy. You familiar with that term?
Yes.
Good. So you're going to come in and update this thing on a regular basis on your own throughout the week. And this is how you're going to make sure you're staying true to what you set out to do. And then when we get together again next week on Wednesday, Thursday, Monday, whatever day we decide, we're going to go through, see how you did, figure out what went right, what went wrong, and then make adjustments so that we're starting to put the bullets on the target.
Sounds good.
I'm going to go ahead right now and share this to you. So, two things I want to go over with you today. One, we'll talk a little bit about the school program. We'll go over these doodads. And then also, we're going to talk about your business goal plotter tracker. So, you ever seen this before?
I have not.
Cool. So, this is a little device I put together to kind of help uh, add some framework to our conversations week after week and give us something to review together because just jumping on and talking to a real estate agent for 30 minutes will get you nowhere. As salespeople, all we know how to do is talk in circles, and that is not effective for coaching. So we'll use this as a framework to make sure that we're staying on track with what we got to do. So don't worry so much about item 4 through 9 just yet. We'll just focus on items 11 through 17. What I did for you was I figured out what the most common, necessary, and effective social or not social, but prospecting strategies are for a young agent such as yourself that you can go out and get business. And the way that I came up with this was through 10 years of hard work, but it's down here in the biz development. Where to build your business, the scattergram. So we were having a conversation a long time ago, and we really wanted to just lay out and kind of illustrate where people were going to get the most bang for their buck regarding their time and their money in real estate. And the reason that this came about is because myself, along with a lot of other people, got into the industry and we started asking people, okay, well, now that I'm an agent, like, what should I do to get business? And you talk to one person and they're like, oh, you should send out mailers. That's where the money is. And you talk to somebody else and they're like, oh, you should go door knock. That's where the money is. And other people are like, oh, you should go get these leads. They're really great. That's where the money is. And we would try those things and they wouldn't work and we'd feel like failures. And then, a lot of people just wash out of the industry. The fact of the
Mhm.
matter is, the advice that those people gave us wasn't right or wrong. It was good information for a specific person at a specific point in their career. And it might not have been us, and it might not have been us at that time. So it begs the question like, well, what is the right advice for the right person, us in particular? And, in order to answer that, like, well, we need to figure out what's good advice for what kind of people at what point in their industry, in their career. So we put this together. Top left is where you want to be. This is the least amount of time invested and the greatest amount of leads generated. That's where we want to be. Top left is where it's at. Bottom right This is where you're sucking. You're spending a lot of time and getting nothing out of it. We said, well, time's one factor. The other factor is money, right? Well, if you don't have tons of money to build up your business, you can buy business, right? But you want to make sure you're spending a little and making a lot, right?
Right.
Otherwise, you're not in business, you're in bankruptcy. So the same thing applies here. If you're going to spend a little bit of money, you want to put a little money in and get a lot out. So top left is where you want to be, bottom right is where you want to avoid. But you'd say, well, like, okay, well, what are some of these things? And we look at, like, say, number 18, for example, TV ads. TV ads cost a lot of money, right? And they don't exactly generate a ton of leads for you. It's not like, people are just blowing your phone up because they saw a TV ad. You know what I mean? You'd have to run those for a very long time just to even get anywhere. You'd spend tens of thousands of dollars before you got one phone call. Radio ads, same thing. 14. Bus benches, those little grocery store freaking shopping cart ads. You ever want to call somebody, a real estate agent, because you saw their face on a shopping cart?
Definitely not.
Definitely not, right? So you're like, why the hell would anybody ever do that? Well, two reasons. One, either they're not very, they've never seen the scattergram before, they don't know any better. It's possible. Or it's a person who's elevated their business in such a way that that actually makes sense. So you, as a single agent, you are years away from ever needing to do anything like that. And if you're just selling business for yourself, just as a sole agent, you'll never need to do this because the stuff up here in the top left is good enough for a single agent to carry you through to your dying days. You can make millions in this industry just by staying with your core five or six pieces up here. You never need to go beyond that unless you're really trying to build something large. So, like, say, for example, a mega team like the beer home team or the whistle group or wherever, some of these like 100 odd person teams. Well, when you have like 100 different agents in your company, you have to be able to feed all those agents business to keep them moving, to keep them attracted to your company. So having a bus bench for yourself doesn't make sense, but having a bus bench for your company that brings brand recognition. So one of your 100 agents knocks on a door and they say, "Hey, I'm with the beer home team," and people be like, "Oh, I've heard of them." Now that allows that person to have a warmer interaction with that client because they're with a reputable team. That's it, right? So maybe that $10,000 a month for that billboard can help increase the ROI when you spread it over 100 agents who are out there talking to people all the time. So that would make sense, right? But no one tells you that when you first get in the industry. No one like makes that make sense to you.
Right.
So then we think, well, that's what we don't want to do right now. What do we want to do right now? What we do want to do is up here. One, two, three, and four. Number one, open houses. They don't cost anything. If you want to spend money on some freaking bagels or muffins or water bottles or something, you can, but you don't even need to print up any flyers as long as you can afford to put your open house signs outside. That's enough. Put the house signs outside and stand in the doorway and wait for people to walk in. That's it. Number two, sphere of influence. People you already know. It costs nothing to talk to somebody who's already in your cell phone. Your family, your very close friends, people you go to church with that you see on a regular basis. Three, past client referrals. Costs you nothing. These are people you've already done a transaction with. They talk to a friend, they refer you, their friend gets the phone number, calls you, you're in business. And then number four, network referrals. People you know through the military, through clubs that you're in, through, groups that you're with. Like if you regularly go to volunteer at a animal shelter or something, that doesn't cost you anything. That's just places where you meet people, right? We got number 10 in here as well, door knocking. People think you have to print up a bunch of flyers and stuff to door knock. You don't. You can walk around with a blank sheet of paper in your hand or no sheet of paper in your hand. 'Cause all it is just knocking on the door and talking to somebody, right? Doesn't really
Right.
cost you anything. Costs you time, but not really money. Number 16, for sale by owner calls. These don't really cost you a whole lot. You might have to spend a little bit of money for a for sale by owner list or a service that gives you fresh leads, but they're not really that expensive. I mean, for tens to hundreds of dollars, you can have, lists and lists of names. It's not that expensive. The likelihood of you landing something It's 50-50, but it's there if you put the work in. And then number 19 up here is community events. Community events, like this is variable. You can spend a ton of money on these or no money at all. It depends on how you want to spend it. If you've got a table in your garage and a tablecloth, like maybe you've had it for years, you can freaking set that puppy up outside, put a lemonade stand on it, whatever, and give free lemonade to the community. That won't cost you very much at all. Or you can spend $10,000 and put on a big fat soiree. It really just kind of depends. But they are effective if you do them well and you do them often enough. So for that reason, I put that one kind of middle of the road here. But, you know, it is effective. So it's something you can think about as far as money is concerned. I care about your money, especially early in your career, because you don't have much of it and you can go broke real fast. And if you run out of money, you got to leave real estate and go get a 9 to 5. That's the opposite of what we need. We need to stay in the game as long as possible because time, and I'll come to show you, is our friend. So moving on to time. The least amount of time invested at all with the best amount of leads generated, a lot of times is paid leads. The problem with paid leads for a brand new agent is you don't know how to convert for shit yet. You haven't had enough conversations with people. You don't know enough about transacting. You don't know enough about the ins and outs of like real estate law. You don't have the experience with certain situations to necessarily be able to work these people over and get them into a house. If you were an experienced agent and you moved to another city or state or area and you had to start from scratch and build up your business in a hurry, yeah, I do paid leads all day because then those paid leads turn into closed sales. Those closed sales turn into past client referrals. And then you get back into business. You can set up new open houses. You can build up a new sphere of influence over time and you can get away from the paid leads. It's just a turbocharger, right? But you got to be able to convert first. So I don't love those. Number three, past client referrals. No time invested at all. You close somebody on a house, and then 3 weeks later, they talk to a friend who happens to be looking to get out of the barracks and wants to go buy a house. Boom, there it is. You didn't put any effort into that at all. Four, network referral. It takes you a little bit of time for a network referral because you got to spend some kind of time inside of a community. You got to spend some time getting to know people, but a few phone calls into it, and you're getting hookups. Open houses. Open houses will take you all day because you got to go and set them all up and, man them and all that stuff. And then when you get done, you got to like make phone calls and things like that. So in the short term, there's a time component to open houses. They're basically free, but you got to put in the sweat equity. And then you got to do a certain number of them in the macro, month after month to really start to see the results and like land a lead from it. But do they work? 1000% of the time they work. Number two, sphere of influence. Again, doesn't cost you anything, but you got to make the phone calls. 2, 3 phone calls a day, couple weeks, couple months into it, boom, you're going to start to get business. 10, door knocking. You're starting to see the same trend, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 10.
Mm-hmm.
Door knocking just takes time. You might be able to go out and like knock around a listing, like a open house that you're doing, hit 10, 15 doors and land somebody who wants a set a listing appointment. Possible. Not entirely likely, but possible. Most likely, you'll do a geo farm and you'll set up shop and you'll go knock doors for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And then suddenly, like after 6 months, somebody wants to do business and they give you a call. Doesn't cost you any money, but you got to put in the effort and stick with it. 19, community events. Same thing. They usually take time. You could set one up and land somebody day one, or it could be a couple of months of doing these things before you get somebody that comes along. You don't know. And it's a setup thing too, because you got to plan it all out, execute it, stay there throughout the duration of the event, then follow people afterwards. And then the last one in the quadrants, number 16, FISBO calls. You could call somebody right away with the FISBO and land it, but most likely it's going to take you a couple of attempts before you get somebody to, entertain having you over. So that's it. And the reason that I set up this business tracker the way I did was based off of all that information. So we put those things over here in this category. This is what I want you to do. We're not going to worry about lead systems right now because you're just getting started brand new. Geofarm. Geofarm is where you decide on an area, 50 to 100 units that you like, in some given area. Some people think, "Oh, I want to set up a geofarm and go knock 300 doors this weekend." You'll never do it. You'll never ever do it. But if you have like 50 doors, you can manage 50 doors. And I'd rather you manage 50 doors with really good consistency and control than trying to bite off 300 doors and only getting to 50 of them. Because then it's going to defeat you and it's not really going to help your brand look good if you just hit once and disappear. Are you familiar with what a geofarm is?
Yes, it's like it's pretty much to me like targeting a specific demographic area that you feel as though you would do well in communicating.
Exactly. What I like about geofarming is it's an opportunity for listings. Because, like you said, you're targeting a specific area. When you say specific area, you're talking about homes, the houses. So, everything that's in common is the home itself, right? The neighborhood. You're going to have all walks of life, the people that live there. You're going to have rich, poor, young, old, all different colors, all different religions, and that sort of thing. But what they do have in common is you know exactly where their address is. So those people already live there. You're going to be helping them move out of there, right? That's, you know, end of story. As somebody who's just getting started in real estate, the high mark, the goal for all of us is we want to ultimately get to listings because listings pay more for what time you put into them, but they're more of an expert level move because you need to have good skills to be able to get a listing. Someone's got to trust you with their money. As a buyer's agent, the buyer just trusts you to open a door. They don't actually pay you out of their own pocket. So they're a little less, discriminating. But a listing agent is somebody who's directly asking the seller for money. So they're going to want to make sure you're worth the money. You know, getting started early to set yourself up to be a listing agent is a good thing to do. And it will break up the monotony of dealing with buyers all the time.
Sure.
What we're going to do is we're going to figure out where you want to set up a geo farm, and then we're going to target a certain number of doors and we're going to build up a certain process for that. Now, I want you to cast your eyes down here a little bit. This little block directly correlates to the I just noticed that it's going to drive me nuts. It correlates directly to the geo farm. So, with a geo farm, what you're going to do is pick an area and then decide how you're going to break that area up. And then you're going to attempt to knock all the doors in that area over some given period of time. So you might be ambitious and say, I'm going to knock all 50 doors in 1 week. That way, like I just get them all out of the way, and then I got the remaining 3 weeks to maybe catch up. And then I'm going to do that every other month or every month or whatever. Or you might take it a little bit slower and say, hey, my neighbors are like super private people. I don't want to beat them up too much. So I might just try to get through everybody in a month and then wait and do them quarterly or semi-annually. Like however you want to break it up, it's completely up to you. But we're going to figure that out and set it in stone. And so the next question is like, well, what do I say to them, when I knock on the door? Like, I don't know. Hey, you want to buy a house, sell a house? It's not going to get you very far. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. So what I did was I just broke out 8 really easy. You don't even have to think about it. Like if you can't come up with nothing else, these will work. Things to say or approaches when you get to the door. Number one, the easiest one in the world, get to know me. You just print out your biography and a headshot on a sheet of paper and you go knock on the doors. And when they open the door, you reach over with the sheet of paper, you slip it in, their eyes go down to the sheet of paper. And while they're looking at that sheet of paper, you got them for about 3 whole seconds to get your speech out. That's it, because they're going to reach for that sheet of paper out of just curiosity and intrigue. And while they're doing that, you say, I'm Hala Bicknell. I'm a real estate agent in your area, and I just wanted to stop by and introduce myself. And they're going to hear that while looking at the paper. And then You say, how long have you lived in the area? And that's the start in for your script. Generally, everybody's going to answer that question. They're not going to shut the door in your face. Most people are pretty like literal, and they'll say, "Oh, we moved in a year ago. We've been here a year. Been here since 1992." Or they're going to open up the door and be like, "We've been here since before blah 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 blah." And then next thing you know, you got yourself a like nice wholesome conversation. And then you can spiral that any way you want to. Oh, very cool. So you're one of the founding members of the community. Congratulations. You're a plank holder. That's awesome. Did you get like, they give you a welcome basket when you moved to the neighborhood, or did they have welcoming committees back then? Or what was it that brought you to the community? What do you love about this place? How come you never moved? What would make you want to move? How many people have moved since you've been here? Got kids? Did they grow up and move away? Like all these different things to get them thinking of people coming and going. And the reason that we want to do that is if there is a future where they see themselves leaving, you want to be the person to assist them with that process. If they know other people in the community that have just moved in or getting ready to move out, you want the referral so you can go find those people and talk to them and catch them coming and going. So the lead in, how long have you lived here? It's an easy question that takes you everywhere that you want to go. And I'll give you a clue. Every single time you knock on the door and open up a conversation with people, it's the same lead in pretty much every time. So the second thing you can do is print out 5 things that sellers need to know to get their house ready for the market. And again, you knock on the door, you reach the little sheet of paper out there, they reach for it, and you just say, "Hey, I'm Hala Bicknell. I live in the neighborhood. I wanted to introduce myself." If you didn't have that opportunity the first time they came around, or we've spoken before, but I'm back and I wanted to bring you some information, however you want to do it. The 5 things for sellers is good because if they have any interest in actually listing their house and moving out, like you've given them something of value to elevate that. So it might encourage a conversation and it might encourage some questions on their half. They look at it like, what do you mean I got to pack all my stuff up? I'm glad you asked. Next thing you know, you're in a conversation. 5 things to be a buyer. Maybe the people that are thinking of moving out haven't really considered what it's like to buy another place when they do move. So it might be of value to them to fast forward and think, oh, what's it going to look like when I go buy the next place I'm going to move to when I get out of here? Or if they're renters and they're thinking about buying a place. In fact, Lee went and door knocked an apartment complex near her the other day. It was chock full of military renters who, were interested in buying a house, and no one ever thought to go do that.
Right.
Yeah, because they were just in apartments.
Mm-hmm.
Market updates are really easy to put together. You can go on Google for like 2 minutes and print out something that gives you an update on the market. And that could be like how many homes have sold in the neighborhood. It could be like what the interest rates are right now, like any upcoming trends, Fed movement, the economy. There's all kinds of stuff you can put in there. Next one's local events. You can get on Google and print out a whole calendar of events in the community or in the city or in the county for the whole following month. Put it together like, here, I'll put together a list of events if you're having trouble getting out of the house and thinking about something to do. There you go. Yeah, easy. One that I like is a what can I do for you? By this time, you've attempted these people like 5 times. Hopefully, they've seen your face by now. And you say, all right, well, you've seen me come around 5 times giving you stuff. Now I'm here to ask you, what's going on with you? What do you want me to go find for you? And kind of turn the tables on them. What's cool about that is it's a pattern interrupt, but also it gives you ammunition to think of something new for your next, value add. Instead of just giving them random stuff, maybe you can address something that's important to people and it'll get your creative juices flowing. Alternatively, you can do community invites to custom events and community events. So if you decide you want to hold a garage sale or something like that in the community, that's something that you can throw on there. Or you can figure out who's doing one and then just advertise for them, right? There's nothing wrong with that. And then the last one, if you haven't thought of anything else, just fun facts, pull something off the internet. Because, honestly, it doesn't matter what you say to them because you're going to go to what?
Mm-hmm. How long have you been in the neighborhood?
Yep. You can walk up and just recite the alphabet as soon as they open the door and they're like, huh? And then you go, how long have you lived in the neighborhood? So it doesn't really matter. It's just a song and dance until you can open up with that lead line. That makes sense.
Makes sense.
All right. So that being said, where would you like to set up a geo farm?
Honestly, I mean, barracks.
At the barracks. Hmm.
Yeah, because a lot of them are either gonna pick up sergeant. So when they pick up sergeant, they rate single sergeant BAH. So then they can move out. Or if they're from California, eventually they're gonna have to make that decision to, purchase a home, maybe. So I don't know if that's a far off idea or not, but that's the first thing that came to my head.
You know what? It's creative, it's different, and I love it.
All
If
right.
you're in a situation where you can go do that and door knock the bricks and not get booted out by, the powers that be, let's send it.
I mean, I could just put my uniform on because I got a couple rockers. I mean, they're not gonna slam the door in my face. So
Yeah, I like that. So, you know, all right, so well, let's spell out the barracks. What is the optimum time and how many doors do you think well, first of all, what base is this? Pendleton?
yes,
Okay, so we got Pendleton. And then what time of day and what days do you think will be most effective?
honestly, Monday through, I mean, 7 days a week. Honestly, I mean, I don't see
They're
why
always
not.
there.
Yeah. And honestly, whatever time I wake up.
Okay. Well, we'll start to figure out when people are going to actually be at those doors because, you want to hit people when they're at home.
Oh yeah. I mean, you hear them. That's how I know. Or at the gym.
There we go. Okay. So that being said, if you're going to target that, these are people who don't live there. So what you're doing is you're actually looking for buyers. So this is more of the apartment strategy. So, five things to be a buyer. And you could do one that's like VA loan, VA loan facts. You could basically take the home buyer 101 stuff and break it down into a like easy checklist. Like, do you have $1,000 car payment for a Mercedes AMG? Let's get let's get rid of that so you can buy a house.
Yeah.
Oh, are you an E4 with $1,000 car payment? And you are wrong, Marine. Let's fix this. Is your credit score plus or minus 500? Check. Let's get you there. Do you have $10,000 in the bank? Check. Let's get there. So that'd be really easy to do. Okay. So, very first step that we can take. What's the first easiest, most dumb, ridiculous step you can take toward getting this done?
Just start doing it. I don't
Okay. Do
know.
you want
Like,
to put together any paper? You just gonna knock on doors and talk to people?
um, I'm gonna make some flyers just because I mean Marines, they don't you have to like put things in writing for them to process things sometimes.
With lots of pictures and color.
Yeah, lots of pictures, lots of colors. So I'll do that.
Okay. So we'll start with one flyer, make one flyer, and then give me an idea of how many doors you're gonna hit per week that you're gonna hit between now and next week when we talk again.
I'm gonna be realistic and say about 30.
Great. 10 it is. We want to set that bar nice and low because every time you go back out, I'm going to level you up a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. And also, 30 doors is way too much for your first outing. We're just going to do 10 because you're going to do 10 And then you're going to start to rethink how you want to approach this thing. And I want you to
Hmm.
stop there. I don't want you to be committed to 30 doing it the wrong way. When I do 10, take a beat, revise what you're going to say, what time you're going to go, how you're going to approach this thing, and then go back at it again and hit 10, 11, 12, 13 doors at a clip. All right. Easy peasy. Network farm. Network farm is networks of people that you know through some kind of common thing. Like you're in martial arts together, you're in horseback riding clubs together, you're in some type of like, religious community, you name it. It could be anything. You know what I mean? Um, the beauty of the network farm is it has nothing to do with a specific house because you're going to be dealing with buyers and sellers alike. And these are going to be people who don't share a zip code or a street name in common. They just share that network thing in common. They all love basket weaving. They all have toddlers that go to this school, like whatever it is. That's what's going to bind you guys. And that's what's going to make it a warm intro for you to talk to those people. And you're going to investigate those people. You're going to interview them and you're going to get to know them and find out who amongst that group has interest in buyer selling a house. You're just going to go through the network. So, that being said, what are a few networks that you can think of off the top of your head?
Honestly, I stay to myself. So, I
And we're going to
mean,
fix that.
yeah. I mean, I can be social, but I mean, I'm just being honest. I'm not really around people.
Okay. So, no networks right now except for the military.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, what are your hobbies? What are you into that doesn't involve people that maybe we can find a community around?
Um, I mean, I could communicate with people at the gym. I know a lot of people there. I just got to talk to them about what I'm doing. So I
Easy
haven't,
peasy.
yeah. So I'll start there.
And this is just a traditional like weightlifting cardio gym, right? Not like a CrossFit or
Yeah.
something, not something fancy. Okay. A base gym?
Yes.
Yeah. Anything else you can think of? People that went to the same college you went to?
Well, I'm in a whole nother state than where I was like brought up. So it's like all my networks are not here. So yeah, I'll be sourcing them.
Okay. Spend a little bit of time when you're not on the spot and think about what kind of groups you might want to get involved with. Me, rock climbing, cars, young grandpas, obviously the military. Um, I like guns, but I don't have any. Motorcycle clubs, maybe. I don't have any tattoos, but tattoo clubs are a thing. Um, let's see what else. I like scuba diving. I could be encouraged to go find some people around here that scuba dive and, go on some go on some outings with them. Just get your brain going on that. So, no need to take any action on that right now. I just want you to think about what those groups are. But when you do identify one of those groups, it's the easiest thing in the world. So, let's just say you're like into cars, right? You would do a cars and coffee commitment like once a month. And they have these cars and coffee meetups all over the place. You just say, hey, I'm going to go to one of these a month. I think they only do them once or twice a month anyway. Like, I'm going
Mhm.
to make sure I get to cars and coffee and I'm going to set a target of talking to 5 random people while I'm there. That's it. Like, easy bar. And it's easy to do because you walk up, you're looking at a car, another dude's looking at a car, and you say, hey, man, that's a nice car. And they'd be like, yeah, it sure is. And you go, so how long have you lived in the area? Or whatever. You know what I mean? You just switch it over and you just start to find out who they are. It's the simplest thing in the book. So I want you to think about that. And then once we do have a couple of those locked down, then we'll set some targets for how to proceed with them. Next one's your social media. And when I say social media, I don't mean social media discovery. I mean social media networking. That's Facebook, that's LinkedIn. The reason I don't want you worrying about social media discovery is because that is a good platform for someone who sells a product that they have control over, but you're essentially working for a broker, and brokering is just facilitating the exchange of a product that you don't control, right? So you having a million followers on TikTok doesn't help you sell a house. It helps you sell socks. It helps you get ad revenue, but it doesn't help you sell real estate. What does help you sell real estate is finding people on Facebook and LinkedIn that you actually know, people with real headshots and real names, and then going through and finding all the people that they know that you know in common and adding them to your network. You're going to build up a huge catalog of people who know the same people you know because those are very warm connections. They don't need to know anything about you, just that you're friends with so and so. And if you're friends with so and so, then you can be friends with me because I like so and so. And if so and so likes you, that'll work, right? Easiest thing in the world. All we're going to do there is we're going to get in and add five of those friends of friends a day, 5 days a week, until you got about 2,500 people on there. And by the time you have 2,500 people on there, your inbox is going to be overflowing with people asking you questions about buying and selling real estate. For a military person, it's fishing with dynamite. And anybody who doesn't do it is just leaving money on the table. One of the modules that we have for this actually spells this out for you. So we've got public display of agency. This is where we want to make sure everybody that we know knows that we're an agent. And part of that is the social media, your profile. And then social media engagement and expansion. This talks about how to connect with people on social media, how to communicate with them, especially on Facebook, to stand out and have meaningful conversations. It's all listed here. And then there is, see, setting up your public profile right here. And this is how we're going to set up your public profile so that you look the part on social media. That way, when people try to find you, it's really easy. I want people to trip, fall, and like be hit over the head with the fact that I'm a real estate agent and not a schmuck. What I did was I just went straight through my own page here and just laid out everything that makes my page the way it is. So it's
Mhm.
really easy to see everything that I'm all about. So many people are like real estate agents in real life, but you look them up on social media or the internet and you have no idea that they sell real estate. So if someone were to refer them over to you and somebody snoops you out, they'd be like, this person doesn't even sell real estate. They like work for a cab company. Like, I don't want to work with that person. So your social media just needs to back up what you're doing. So what I'm going to say for this one is let's set up our social media according to Skool. Set up your online profile, and that'll get us started. That'll take you a little bit of time to do. All right. Sphere is just a matter of talking to all the people that are closest to you anyway. You're just like me. You didn't grow up here. Your whole network's back east. But there are some people that are in your local sphere of influence, right? Folks that you're super close with, past roommates, mailman, your favorite barista. People like that are super close to you. You can reach out and touch them. And there's a module on Skool for the sphere. It is the building your SOI. And then this is a list. It's like 140 or something like that. Yeah, 144 different ideas for people to think of that are your sphere. All you got to do is go down the list and write in names for each one of these. Guarantee you put an hour into this, you'll have 20 names you didn't think about of people to reach out to. And you're from the sales world, you get this. This is just basic networking 101 right here. All right. Now, the other part of the sphere is the ABC strategy. and downloading all your contacts. Have you seen or have we talked about my contacts backup yet?
No.
Cool. So under school, downloading your contacts, what you're going to do is you can actually download a copy of this spreadsheet right here. And this just puts everybody's information in the proper format for you. So save this and we're going to fill this in. Then you're going to go to my contacts backup. You got iPhone, right?
Yes.
All right, you'll open this up on your phone and download it. And my contacts backup is free. And all you got to do is go in here, put it on your phone, download it, hit the backup button. And when you go, you're going to go into settings and change it to a CSV file for the instead of a contact card format. And then you hit the backup and then email it to yourself. And it'll email you a spreadsheet of all the contacts that are in your phone. What you're going to do is you're just going to take them and then rearrange them to this format right here. Really easy. And this tells you last name, first name, then their email, phone number, address, social media, how you know them, when the last time you talked to them, and then if they're an A for ambassador, B for a basic friend, and C for I haven't contacted them yet. I need to see what they're all about. Which brings me over to this one, which is grooming your SOI. So when you contact those people, a lot of them haven't heard from you in a while. They probably, some of them won't even remember who you are. Maybe they were just, you were in the same duty section or, you had to run formation or something and you got their phone number. You don't even remember where. That's cool because that's basically a brand new person. That's prospecting. If you talk to that person, you're like, hey, this is Salah or this is Sergeant Bignell or whatever. And they're like, oh, yeah. Oh, that's awesome. What are you doing? Like, I'm in real estate. I'm calling to let you know that I sell real estate. So if you got somebody who needs help, I'm your guy. And they're like, oh, bet. I got 3 people right now I want to send your way. That person is gold class. That's your ambassador. We want to take good care of them because they're your hub. They're going to refer you a lot of business. So you'll go over to your database and you'll put that there in A. If they're like, oh, well, I don't know anybody, and I don't want to do anything, but if somebody asks me, I'll give them your name. Cool. They're not going out of their way for you at all. But they're still friendly to you and you can call them a couple times a year, no problem. That's going to be your B. That's just your basic contact, your basic buddies, right? So you're going to put a B next to them over here. And then the people that you can't get a hold of, you try, but they didn't answer or whatever. They're just going to be a C. And then you're going to get some people on the phone that you might have even thought you were cool with. And they turn out to be total dicks, right? And they're
Hmm.
like, they don't want to
I've
help
seen
you.
that. I've
Yeah.
seen that. Ooh, it
You're
was.
you're gonna cut them out of your life, man, because they're just gonna drain your life force. I've seen so many agents try to take dickheads and bring them around and just don't even bother, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. D for delete, D for dickhead, D for drains your energy. They got to
Yep.
go. D for doors over there. Don't let it hit you with a good Lord split you. All right, and just delete them from your database. Now, what'll happen is you're going to go through and you're going to try to attempt. You're going to get like 300 people in your download. You're going to reach out to most of them. You'll get like 150 of them will talk to you. Then you'll give it like a week or two. You'll try again, and then another 25 or 30 will get back at you. And then some of them just won't answer from the phone. You got to get creative. You start chase them down on social media, try to DM them, or private message them on Facebook or whatever. And then a handful of them will respond back to you. And then there's going to be some number of them that just never even answer. Well, after you've tried a couple of times and they just do not come through, it's all right. Just go ahead and take them out of there. You did the best you could. The ones that you do get a hold of, you're going to have first name but no last name but no first name but no email or no phone number or whatever. In the course of your conversation with them, you're going to try to collect that information because part of what you need to do is populate a full roster here. But two, you're also having a conversation with them about life and them and their moving goals and stuff like that, as well as sharing with them your journey. I don't want you to be all like weird because you're a brand new agent thinking, I'm just a brand new agent. Who am I to ask for their business? If that's even remotely in your mind, take it out because they don't even care. They're not even thinking about you being a brand new agent. And even if they are thinking you're a brand new agent, don't sweat it because most people want to see you do well on your journey. There are so many people that took a chance on me when I was brand new. I ended up selling them three, four, five homes, right? If they like you as a person and they trust you as a person, they'll trust you with the real estate work because they know you're a good moral character, right?
Mhm.
And that's all you need to lean on. That's the greatest thing about the sphere and the network
Yeah.
is these people already know you, like you, and trust you. And that's the golden ticket.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll get that database all filled out. Once you've made three, four, five attempts on all these people, you're going to lock in what you have, and we're going to take all this and we're going to move it over to your CRM, your customer relationship manager, whether that's follow up boss or what's the other one? Keep wanting to say Ylopo. It's KV Core. Sorry, KV Core or one of the other ones that you like. Whatever you want to spend your money on, we'll move them over to there. And the CRM will have automations that you can set up and have tracking, and they'll have scripts that you can go ahead and put in and automated text messages and all kinds of stuff like that. But we just got to get through the basics first. I guarantee you're going to find a deal here if you go through all these people. So that's why that one is on the list. So, what I want you to do between now and the next time we get together is I want you to do that. And when you go through these things on Skool and you actually complete these tasks, like obviously downloading your contacts and going through everybody is going to be a long process. But once you've downloaded the contacts and you've made one round of phone calls, just go up here and check it off, right? Same with this one, grooming your sphere of influence. And we should have, let's see, maybe it's on this one. Should be some language in here, what to say to them and what to talk to them about. Yeah, here we go. Hi, so and so, it's me. What are you up to? Yada, yada, yada. It's a very easy script to follow if you can't think of anything else. And then open houses. Open houses, man, that's just your place of work. It's the easiest, oldest, most tried and true way to get business. Stand there, you put your signs up in the yard, people come into your honey trap, and then they got to talk to you. You're in my house. You can be as aggressive with people as you want to be because they came to you.
Oh yeah, some people are rude. I was
Uh-huh.
doing yeah, I was doing one. Everybody signed in because I made sure they signed in, but like not in a rude way. But you know how
Yeah.
people don't like signing in at all?
Yeah.
I was like, I wouldn't let them continue until they signed in, pretty much. Everybody. I don't care. I do not care. But like they don't know that I'm actually like tracking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just being nice about it. But there was this one guy, his name was Scott. I remember him. He was older, and I could tell maybe he was an agent or knew somebody, or he was well versed in the world of
Yeah.
real estate. And I was like, "Oh, sir, can you just sign in, please? And then we'll take a look around." He was like, "No, no, I'm not signing." And I was like, "Just a quick signature on the login book right there is fine." He was like, "No, I'm not signing." And I was like, "Sounds good." I didn't even. I was like so stunned. I didn't even know what to say. I was like,
Good on you for holding your ground because most
"No."
agents don't even bother asking.
Yeah, if I would have kept pushing that one, I think I would have got swung on. But
I come around the corner and I see you got this dude in a triangle choke. Like, what happened here? I told him to sign in.
seriously, oh man.
Bet you want to sign in now, don't you, Scott? Too late.
Mhm.
Sign in or tap out.
Yep. I remember his
Uh,
face too. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, I remember you, Scott. If I see you at another open house, I'm shutting the door on you.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not public property, and they don't have
Cameras in
unequivocal
most of them.
right to
No, I'm just
enter.
kidding.
So you could be like, well, you're not welcome to come into the house. The seller doesn't want anybody in here if they can't account for who they are. So good day.
Very
Yeah,
true.
it
Very
is.
true.
If you, I mean, if you want to go there, but for the most part, like, especially if they've been to, a couple open houses, they know that it's not like a law. They know they don't have to if they want to be, rude about it. Like, all right. And sometimes, like, if they refuse to sign, I'll just be like, all right, well, I'm just going to write your name down so that I can account for, however many people came through. I just need to let the sellers know, like, accurately how many people stopped by to see the house. And I like to capture feedback, of what people thought about the house afterwards. I'm just trying to do my job. And
Look, you look him up on LinkedIn and somehow find him and contact him. Hey, just wanted to reach out and see.
hey, buddy, what did you think about 123 Main Street?
Right?
Yeah. So I got a whole module on this that you're eventually going to go through. I think you're going to like, but I believe we're up here in open houses, open houses. Oh, here we go. Open houses end to end in prospecting. This one's really good. I got a whole video and a slide deck on it. And a big part of what we talk about in open houses is the different methods of connecting with people. So there's a whole menu here, right? Depending on what type of agent you are, maybe being a good gate guard like you are and making sure people sign in is the way to go. That's going to show discipline and composure and strength, and boldness to be able to do your job. And a lot of people, especially if they're looking for listings, want someone who's got fortitude, right? Like, this is a person that's like, they're going to stand up for me and they're going to fight for me. I like that quality. Buyers, maybe not so much. Buyers maybe want somebody who's just going to be like, hey, buddy, buddy, just be like super
Yeah,
friendly and fun,
a dime a
you know?
dozen. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Some people will not sign when they walk through the front door. It doesn't matter what type of person you are, period. They're just not going to do it because they're just there to see the house and they don't want to deal with the riffraff. Me, I never sign in. If I can get away with it, I'm just blowing right by them because just let me see the house first and we'll talk later. I'm not here for an agent. I'm here to see the home. And most of the
Hmm.
time, I'll be honest with you, this is my personal experience. When I walk into a house, I just want to see the house and I get this annoying fucking gnat following me around, jibber
Oh,
jabbering at me
that's
the
yeah.
whole time. And I'm like, dude, A, you're not building a relationship with me. And B, I'm also not seeing the house. So we're losing on both ends here. Right.
True.
So I like to think back on that. When people come to my open house, I greet them at the door. I ask them, what brings you in today? I want to find out what they are. What's their avatar? Are they a buyer, a
Right.
seller, a neighbor, an investor, an industry professional? And then once I know what they are, I can proceed accordingly. If they're just like, yeah, we're in the market for a house, we've been looking for something for a while. And if they like break away from me and they just like are very dismissive about it and they clearly just
Exactly.
focus on the house, I let them go.
Yeah.
I'm going to let them get theirs first. I'm going to let them scope out the house. And then as they wrap up their tour, then I'm going to jump back in and say, what do you think about this house? How does it fit what you guys are looking for? How long have you been in the market? Once they've got a full belly, they've taken in the house, they've seen what they wanted to see. A lot of times they're cool chit chatting with me afterwards. But if I try to stop them before they can even get in the house, I'm just interfering with their plans, and that sucks, and nobody likes that. So I'll catch people on the way out and have really good success getting their contact information at that phase of the journey. But I'm confident enough that I can do that. And if they blow by me and then they also sneak out of the house, well, shit, they weren't going to be a client with me anyway. They weren't going to answer the
True.
phone when I called. So it's okay.
Very
And everybody's got different styles. Like Tawanda, she just says, hey, welcome in, and just lets people go. And then catches them like midway through or whatever, and then tries to get them. Mike, Mike Boyd will grab them and he's going to just bring them and he's going to walk them around the house himself and like interview them the whole time he's walking through the house with them. It really works for him. I read the room, depending on who I'm working with, which way I want to go about doing it. Other people are really good about like locking down the contact information and they don't really bother to even talk to the person at the open house. They'll just wait till follow up and they'll spend all their time Monday morning hitting the phones, trying to get people on the phones to set an appointment. And that's how they just want to do business. That's like a high D person. That's not my style at all. But a lot of people just go about it that way, especially if you're just looking for listings. That's an option. Anyways, all that stuff is covered here in this module. So, as far as what we're going to do, we just need to set a target for how many open houses, like say, for example, this weekend we're going to hit and then make sure that we hit those. So, how many you think you're going to do?
Mm, well, I mean, it depends how many I guess they're gonna push out, but I'll this coming weekend I'll do at least one or two.
Is it one or is it two?
I mean, it depends if the opportunity presents itself. I'll do two.
Well, the thing about goals is we set them regardless of what the opportunities may be. So, what are you going to guarantee that you're going to get done this weekend?
I'm gonna go with one.
All right, one open house. Beautiful. And if you can get two, you can get two, but you're not going to quit until you at least get one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. And I want to be like, I know you're gonna. I've got a feeling that like you're going to commit to these things that you set up for yourself. So I want to make sure that when we set goals that are attainable and are very crisp, no ambiguity to it. One or two is not an answer. One's an answer. 30 doors, I think is too much. 10 doors, we can definitely do. If you feel froggy and you push that to 30, hell yeah, way to go. But I don't want to set that bar. I want to be very clear and make sure that we can hit the targets that we hit. So next week, when we get back together, we're going to go over how we did with the things in these categories. These are like, yeah, this is kind of long form. This section down here, we're talking about what we're going to do. We're taking notes. We're getting feedback on how these things went. So as time goes on, these will become 2 lines, 3 lines, 4 lines, 5 lines. We're basically going to be keeping a diary of how these things are working. But once we start to get numbers in place and we're like, Matt, every time I go out and door knock, I'm getting like, I knock about 15 doors and I get about 3 people to answer and I get about one person that sets an appointment. So I'm starting to see this as a pattern. This is my number right now. This is my hit rate I'm starting to see as a pattern. At that point, once we start to have those numbers and those patterns, we can go up here and we can start setting actual numerical goals. So, not just like the effort that we want to take, like the type of work that we want to do down here, but up here we can say, all right, well, I actually want to meet. When we say like actually have conversations, we're talking about contacts. A contact is like actually bumping into somebody and communicating with them. So we can start to say, well, I want to have, 10 contacts this week from my geo farm. And you know how many doors you need to hit to make that happen. So what we do down here in this block starts to match what we do up here in this block and these activities, because you can't control how many people open the door. You can only control how many doors you knock. But if you follow your hit rate, you can expect that if you hit a certain number of doors, you're going to get a certain number of people to answer. And that's what we're going to shoot for. So if every 5 doors, one person answers and we need to hit 10 contacts, then we're going to say 50 doors. We're going to go knock 50 doors. And that's going to correlate with this contact goal. Now, say we fall short, we only get 8 people. Cool, we'll put 8 people over here. And then we know next week we need to go up to like 60 doors to try to hit that 10 contact average. And the number of contacts you make will correlate down to the number of prospects you add. So just because you talk to somebody doesn't mean they're like a prospect that they're going to give you their contact information, that you're going to be able to follow up with them. But a certain number of them will. So let's say you have 10 conversations and 2 out of every 10 conversations, you end up getting the digits. Cool. Well, now we got an idea of what your hit rate is for prospects. And you say, well, Matt, I want to add 5. I want to add 5 people. I want to add 5 prospects this week. We say, all right, well, if your hit rate's, 20%, then we know that we need to bump this up to like, this is going to be more like 50, right? Or something like that. So if we know 2 out of every 10 will get us there, we'll say 25. So 25 contacts ought to get us about 5 prospects. And then we'll come in and say, oh, I actually did better than I thought. And 6. And we'll write 6 down. And then we'll track this week over week over week. And all this falls right in line with your business because the number of people you add will be a number that will get you to the number of people you have a meeting with. And that will take you to a number of people that you have uh, showing appointments or listing appointments with. And that will turn into contracts and that will turn into closings. And then you'll be able to map your whole business from the number of deals that you closed this year. We'll be able to track all the way back to the number of doors you hit, the number of people you added on social, the number of open houses that you did per week. And we can actually look at your business from a big blueprint standpoint, like a real deal business owner.
Right.
Okay.
Question, did you come up with this?
Yes. Yes, I did.
This is a very good way to like actually quantify like how your career is progressing. It's really nice.
Yeah, I'm glad you like it. Most people like I don't think they really appreciate it, but when you've been in business for 10 years, stuff
Yeah,
like this is like, oh, I
yeah,
needed that.
yeah. It's a deal. It's a deal. It really defines like how you actually organize your thoughts and do things because that's very important.
Yeah. Because it's a numbers game, right? Like for you to be able to
Yeah.
survive in this business, you need to be able to do a certain number of deals a year. And
Mhm.
also like you want to maximize the amount of money that you make for what you do. So, you know, if you're going out, like for example, and you're spending, let's just say you're doing 2 open houses a weekend and that's only getting you like one deal a month, maybe. Like, well, you're spending, you know, 8 weekend days for one deal. Whereas if you were to just spend, 8 hours a month door knocking, you'd get the same one deals. Hell, maybe you scrap open houses and save your weekends for fun stuff,
Mhm.
like but
Yeah.
if you didn't track your numbers, like you wouldn't be able to identify that and say, this is working for me, this isn't, we should dump these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might not be as good at like I don't know. I don't even know yet, but I might not be as good at like door knocking or, stuff like that. I might be better at open houses. You don't know until you know, put a number to those things. Like how many of these people have I actually connected with? So,
Read
yeah,
my mind.
I'm gonna keep track of that because I really do like want to figure out, okay, what would be my strength, at least in the very beginning, so that way I
Mhm.
can be good at all of it.
Yeah. And then also there's strengths, like there's what's working for you, but then there's also what makes you happy too. Like I there might be something I do, like let's just say for example, door knocking didn't really get me the best results. Let's just say it got me mid-level results for the time. But I enjoyed it. It had helped me get steps and lose weight. It gave me an opportunity to be outside in nature. Maybe I take my dog with me, and I'm getting my dog walking in at the same time. Even though it's not the most rewarding in terms of the deals I get, maybe it fills my cup, and that's enough. But I wouldn't know it until I did that. And there might be some other stuff that gets really good results, but I hate it, and it's like sucking my life force. Maybe I dial that way down, even though it's lucrative. Maybe I dial that way down for the sake of sustainability
Hmm.
you know? But we'll figure that out. Like you said, we're going to go through these things. We'll see what feels good, what hits well, and then we'll tailor it to something that you can live with, a routine that you can repeat day in and day out for the long haul. So what I want you to do, I don't want you to like use all your youthful energy to blow up really quickly and then burn out, go to rehab, change careers, and then try to come back and muster your energy to do it again and then burn out again. I want you to start to do things that really work good. And then as time goes on, I want that to just grow and grow and grow to where you're like You're building something that's just getting better in every way. You're feeling happier about what you do every day. You're making more money every day that you're doing it. You're meeting
Yeah,
new people and making better relationships every day that you do it. Everything in your life is on a steady growth curve. So when you wake up in the morning, you're like, today is going to be better than yesterday in every way, just because I put it on that path to begin with and cut out the shit
right.
that I didn't want to do. I doubled down on the stuff I did want to do. I sharpened up the things that were working okay. So now they're working great and just blossom and grow and have a wonderful life.
Very true.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a pretty good kickstart for what we want to do between now and next week. You got a lot to work on. And then also, I'm going to add this down here to your real estate classes, which I know you're going to bang these out because you've already done them before. Here and here. You're on you finished two of the classes, yeah? Or just one?
So I'm actually taking my second test today because it won't let you take the test until 18 days after the first one or whatever. But I take my second one today. So after today, I'll have one more test for my coursework. And then I could apply for the state exam.
Sweet. All right. Something I want to bring to your attention too is I put in this whole other module over here for the onboarding. And this gives you everything you need to do for getting your license.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, so just to give you the cliff notes. Once you finish your courses with Allied, all you got to do is download your courses, number one, and it's really easy to do. Then you're going to go here to the DRE's website and you're going to create an e-licensing profile, right? Super simple. And when you do that, you're going to fill out all the information and then you're going to upload your course completion certificates. When do you fully separate?
August 13th.
Okay, so you're going to be active duty while you're still doing this stuff. So what I want you to do is once you do get your e-licensing profile set up and you upload your certificates, I want you to call this number here and see about applying and scheduling a sooner appointment than later.
Okay, let
With
me
you,
copy that.
oh, this is in school. This is in your profile.
Oh, okay. Well, I was
Yeah,
gonna
so,
add in my phone right after this,
oh, okay.
so
There we go.
so I can call them tomorrow.
Yeah.
4542. Got it.
Yeah. So do that to try to get them to get you an accelerated appointment scheduled for your exam. What they might have you do is they might have you go here and fill out this 435 form. And this is the same thing you'll fill out on e-licensing if you just do it that way. They might have you fill this out and mail it in, and they'll have you mail it here. Or they might say just go ahead and apply through e-licensing and then call us back in a week and see if we can push your date up. They'll tell you what to do either way, but you should
Okay.
be able to get it done faster than that. Now, when you do apply, you're going to apply for exam and license. It's like it's listed here. And it's going to be $305 for the exam and the license. If you apply over the mail, they'll want you to send a check. If you do it online, you can pay right through the portal. And then here's a link to the current processing times. So let's see, sales exam and license as of May 27th. So people that applied back in May 4th are finally getting their exam dates scheduled right now. So they're about 23 days, a little over 3 weeks. So you apply now, you'll have to wait 3 weeks just to get an exam date set. And that's not going to be like, oh, tomorrow it's going to happen. They might it might wait 3 weeks for them to set it 3 weeks from now.
Mm.
So that's why calling them and getting them to push you up is helpful because then they might look at your application now rather than waiting 3 weeks from now.
Well, yeah, I got to get on that because I may or may not stay out here. So I don't know. The rent prices are crazy.
Yeah. Well, in either case, we're going to do the best we can with, what we've got now. And then if you
Yeah,
decide like you're going to book it later, well, so be it. But we're not going to have you book it later because we flopped it now.
yeah.
Yeah. When you do fill that out, you're going to, very important, select non-working status because, and that's on that 435 form, it's question number 19. Let's see, where's it at? Right here it says no. Where are you? All right. Working status, you're going to hit no, I do not have a responsible broker. Then you're going to pass and everything. And then afterwards, then we're going to port you over to EXP. It's just a lot easier to do it this way than to have you try to put the broker and stuff. Our broker doesn't like to do it that way. They want you to do it this way. It's easier for their process. So,
Okay.
anyways, we'll talk more about that as we get closer, but all that stuff is here. It's listed out for you in black and white, so you can't make any mistakes. The
Okay.
onboarding thing when we get ready to bring you over to EXP is all right here. And then once you get ready to connect with the MLS and all that stuff, we'll get you connected right here.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Try to make it like, pretty dummy proof. So,
Yeah. No, it's definitely dummy proofed for real.
yeah. People still screw it up, but like, fewer dummies. We
Yeah.
minimize the dummy count. I'll take it. All right. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. And you're already taking your exam. So, yeah. Any saved rounds? Anything you want to go over before we break?
I just want to recap my main goals before next week. I'm assuming next week, Friday, we're gonna like touch base again.
Yeah.
Okay. So just to recap, the things that are my priority until next Friday is the door knocking, well, also getting contacts from those door knocks.
Correct.
Um, Social media, kind of building up my social media a little bit to, so this is my thing. So I have started making, you know, content for my social media, kind of describing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, I'm not saying that I'm fully licensed or anything, you know? I'm
Yeah.
just saying, oh, I'm a Marine Corps veteran. Come with me as we do this, this, this. You know, just which makes me cringe, but like I have to do it that way, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so I'm already doing that. So social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, and then get contacts. So getting contacts, social media, door knocking.
And I'll make your life a little bit easier too. Let's see. This is actually your working document. So you have access to this. Just open it up and go here and look at what you need to do this week.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
can
feel free
definitely.
to write it down in notes additionally, but this is
Yeah.
your working copy. So I want you, as you do these things, I want you to come in here and make updates. That way,
Okay.
next
Nice.
week when we get together, you can just report to me how these things went, and then we can
Okay.
have a discussion about it rather than me going in and asking you and you trying to think, well, shit, how did my weekend go? Now
Yeah.
that 5 days have passed, I don't know how many people I talked to. Just update this as you go, and then it's a lot easier for us to go through and hit that stuff.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, and then you don't have to try to like, have your to-do list in two different places.
Awesome.
Also, when you go through school, as you knock out some of these things, let's just say, for example, we're in the training plan over here and you're doing your sphere of influence. Once you do one of these things, remember to check this box up here as done because I'll be able to go over here and I can see how much progress you've done on all these things. And what I want to do is I want to track and make sure that you're going through these things that we set out for you as time goes by, just to make sure that you're growing in your apprenticeship and hitting each one of these steps toward your qual.
Okay. Sounds good.
Let's see. Let me go here. What was I gonna say? Oh, last bit before we go. I'm laying out some things for you to do inside of school now, just because we're formulating a plan together, and what's in school correlates to the plan. But the way that I want you to go through school is this is essentially your five buckets of your business. Prospecting is finding new people. That's 80% of your job, is just bumping into new people. Converting is 10%. That's taking people who you bump into and turning them into buyers or sellers. Most people want to meet a few people and spend 80% of their time trying to convince them to buy or sell. And I don't want you to do that. I want you to spend 80% of your time meeting new people. And then the ones that are like, yeah, I'll buy and sell a house. Great. Let's just walk through the door really easily. And then the other 10% of your business is transacting, which is once they sign a contract, taking them through escrow, right?
Sure.
The next two parts of the buckets, business development and personal development. Business development is just being like what we were talking about, knowing your numbers, how many deals you need to make, how many doors you need to knock, what your strategies are. That's also your financial stuff. How much money am I going to spend in my business? Where am I losing money in my business? Should I expand? Should I, lock down on an office rent? Should I hire an assistant? These questions that everybody has to ask so they can scale up their business if they need to scale. And then personal development is the mindset things, the stuff you need to like lock down to get right so you can be a proper sales athlete. It could be stuff like how to manage stress. It could be things like how do I get my mind right so I'm optimistic about taking on this challenge? How do I overcome my fears? Like it could be any number of things to help you operate as the NFL level sales player that you are, so that you go into it with a strong mind and you can overcome obstacles, right? So all that stuff is in here. As you go through it, I don't want you to start with prospecting and go A to Z down prospecting and then go to converting, because these things all work together. So what I want you to do is do a couple of things inside of prospecting. Say do the first three of these and then cruise down to converting. Do the first three of these. Check them out, read them, understand them, put them to use. Transacting, learn the first three modules, and then build them all up from there. So you're going to start with just a couple of modules just as your apprentice level. And then once you get those locked down and you're comfortable with them, go do a couple more modules in each category and move up from apprentice to journeyman. And then once you get like halfway through, you're going to do some more and you're going to get up to like three quarters of the way through. Now you're becoming like a master, with this stuff. And as you hit that level, you're going to find yourself knee deep in business. You might not ever even get to the end of this, and that's okay, because if you're taking action on those basics all the way up, you're going to find yourself doing transactions and keeping yourself very occupied with business. Okay, we covered a lot of ground today. Um, let's. I got Tawanda doing scheduling for me because I can't schedule my way out of a wet paper bag. I understand that about me. I ask no forgiveness for it. It is what it is. So just work with her about getting us on the books for Friday, and she'll make it happen, and I'll be here.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll touch base with Twanda and run her down on this probably tomorrow when she calls me. And I'll let her know to schedule for us
All
to
right.
have another one-on-one.
Works for me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, sir.
It's my pleasure. I enjoy these get togethers. You have a good rest of your day, and I'm here if you need anything else.
All right. Wow.
All right. Hey,